Welcome to the Real Estate Espresso Podcast, your morning shot of what's new in the world of real estate investing. I'm your host, Victor Menashe. Today is March 1st, and on the 1st of each month, we review the Book of the Month. In order to be considered Book of the Month, a book has to meet a very simple criteria. It has to be impactful enough that it can either change your life or your perspective on the world. Whether it does or not, of course, is up to you. You might just read the book and remark on how good it is. If you do, you're missing the point. The goal is to take that book, immerse yourself in it, and make it part of you. And our book this month definitely meets that criteria. Our book this month is called Prosper with an exclamation mark. How to Prepare for the Future and Create a World Worth Inheriting. It's written by my good friends Chris Martenson and Adam Taggart. They're the folks over at Peak Prosperity, an organization dedicated to helping people live a rich and sustainable life. Their book Prosper is a companion to the Crash Course, and if you haven't seen the video series on the Crash Course, I strongly urge you to do so. Go over to peakprosperity.com and just click on the link for the Crash Course. It's going to change the way you look at the world. It shows the way that our society is living in a way that's destined to break down, and arguably, crises like the one that the world is facing right now with the COVID-19 outbreak is an excellent case study. In the book Prosper, Chris and Adam outline many of the things that can happen in a moment of crisis. In fact, we're seeing the scenes play out in many communities around the world right now. We're seeing long lines to enter the grocery store in Korea, in Milan, and even now in Aukland, New Zealand, which just reported its first case of the coronavirus. In the book Prosper, Chris and Adam outline the steps you can take to build a resilient life. This isn't a single thing. We live in a world where black swan events do happen. They're rare, but they happen. We've had 2 world wars in the past century. We've had several major economic recessions, including a decade-long depression. We've had terrorist attacks and natural disasters. And in the past 20 years, we've had 4 outbreaks of highly infectious disease that have threatened our healthcare systems and killed tens of thousands. Any one of these types of events can have a profound impact on our daily life if we're not prepared. Now, I'm not talking about building a concrete bunker 100 feet below your house and stocking a year's worth of food and water. That's for the doomsday prep community. We're talking about investing in 8 forms of capital that will prepare you well in the event of crisis, and if the crisis never happens, it'll just give you a richer life. So the 8 forms of capital are: number 1, financial capital. This is where you develop the flexibility to handle challenges when they come your way. If you have a medical bill or you need to make an emergency trip, having the means to make those decisions is important. This is an area you need to handle in your life, but it's not your life goal. There are too many people that have been culturally conditioned to think money equals fulfillment. Number 2, living capital. Your living capital is your health and the natural environment. There can be no financial wealth without your primary wealth, and that starts with having clean drinking water. No amount of cash in your bank account will matter if you don't have that. Financial capital is a distant second or third to your living capital. Material capital is number 3. These are the things that make up your modern life. These are your home, your car, the buildings, highways, and factories that make modern life possible. We become conditioned to think of wealth as a combination of money and material possessions. Number 4, knowledge capital. This is where your investment in what you know and what you know how to do come together. Number 5, emotional and spiritual capital. It doesn't matter if you have all the money in the world and all the knowledge, but if you crumble in the face of adversity, none of it matters. Your ability to handle adversity in a resilient manner is one of the most important forms of capital. The ability to handle whatever life throws at you. Number 6, social capital. As social beings, we need each other. And by investing in the relationships that complement our strengths and weaknesses, we can build a richness that can't be accomplished in isolation. In fact, people in isolation usually perish. But this takes time. You need to develop those relationships over a period of time. Number 7, cultural capital. Culture defines the space where you live. What personality is to an individual, culture is to a society. Investing in your cultural capital makes it possible for the community to help you in times of adversity. And then finally, number 8, time capital. Time is our most valuable resource. With each passing minute, we have less of it left. How we choose to spend those minutes is one of the most important decisions we can make. How many people spend most of their life chasing goals that they'll later regret on their deathbed? I found the book Prosper to be a real wake-up call, and it's helped me bring focus to what's important. It's also helped me decide on where I want to invest. With this current global crisis, I've been following Chris and Adam's recommendations, and I have to tell you, I feel very secure knowing that I prepared a deep pantry with several months of food. If the supermarkets were to be emptied tomorrow, there's definitely some things I would miss, like fresh vegetables, but we would survive without any worry whatsoever. There's a comfort that comes from knowing that the grocery store could close for a month or more and I'd be just fine. I could be quarantined for 30 or 60 days and be very comfortable. If you haven't been following Chris's daily updates on YouTube, I really urge you to look them up. They reveal a perspective that's not being shared widely in the mainstream media, but I can tell you that everything he shares is well-researched and has no agenda apart from keeping you informed. Given the complexities our world is facing right now this very week, this month's Book of the Month, Prosper, by Chris Martenson and Adam Taggart, couldn't be more timely. Definitely go check it out either at the Peak Prosperity website or on Amazon.com. In the meantime, have an awesome rest of your day. Go make some great things happen. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.